Hey guys, welcome back to the Little Legends podcast. I am your host, the Blevins, and with me, as always, is the lovely Booposaurus. Welcome back, man.
It's always good to be back, my friend.
Yeah. It's weird because with these big patches and B patches and the timings, it feels like sometimes it's been forever since we did the last episode, and sometimes it feels like we did an episode like 2 days ago. It's it's
Well, I
crazy.
mean, having too much content's never a bad thing, my
True.
friend.
It's a
So
good
even
problem to have.
even if it was a couple days ago, there's a lot of things to talk about, especially with the new items coming out. At first,
Oh,
like when they dropped, I was like, yeah, that's not real, right? But yeah, it is. We're gonna have 8 new items coming into the game, but we'll get to that soon. But I'm good. How are you?
I'm I'm great. I'm still going on my like you know what sleep is for later in my life, not now. Just grinding, real work, real work as in the work I used to pay my bills, and then actual real work, which is the good stuff, the
Hmm.
esports, um, real
Electronic
yeah,
sports are the
the
future.
electronic sporting events are the wave of the future.
New sports, if you will.
Yeah, new spelled NU sports. I don't know if anyone's ever said that, but you heard it here maybe first and hopefully last as well. But we'll be talking all about that. Just want to do a little bit of housekeeping at the top of the show here. Guys, our Discord is popping off right now. Like we've got like almost 50 people in it already. Discord.me/Little Legends Podcast. Come on in, join the conversation. We got a lot of people talking about the new stuff that's going on. People posting their winning comps, asking for strategy. I'm posting all sorts of strategy guides and stuff that I find on there. It's a really good place to be. You're definitely gonna want to be there. And you're definitely going to want to be there for the Friday night fight nights, the Team Fight Tactics Fridays. Not fight nights, sorry. The game nights. Fight nights is a different thing we'll be talking about. Game nights. We had our very first game night last Friday. I was there. Boop was there. A lot of guys in the Discord were there. It was a fun. It was a fun time.
Yeah, it was. It's good to get to know the community, and we're all bonded by this singular game, and so we can all
Yes.
complain about the same thing. But
Yes.
we did some since we had 7 people. We that poor eighth person did have to suffer through some shenanigans that Mr.
Yeah.
Blevins here thought was absolutely
Oh
hilarious the
my
whole
god,
time.
I was crying laughing. Yeah, we had some fun with the random eighth person that showed up, and then also the next game after. Unfortunately for Clippers, sorry, bro. We had some fun with you because you were
It
the
was so
Blitz.
impactful.
You were the
It was
Blitz.
so impactful that you
Oh
remember the
man.
name.
Well,
That's how fun Team Fight Tactics
it's
Fridays can
true.
be.
It would be really bad if I didn't remember him because I know him in real life. But but yeah, so a lot of fun, really lighthearted. We had just some fun games. I've got a couple of like wonky games that we can play if we get 8 people. Can't really do them when there's random people in it, but got some stuff planned in the pipeline. I believe it's still we're still planning on doing it this Friday. I unfortunately am not going to be there, but I'm going to do everything I can to get that facilitated. So obviously, it won't be streamed here. Boop, you're free to obviously stream it if you'd like and participate, but join in the Discord. We will update you on that for sure. And guys, just a reminder: if you're listening on iTunes, reviews are super helpful, especially in the early stages here, helping us grow. We have gotten a ton of new downloads on all of our episodes, even the ones that just feature us, which is just I'm like, maybe the Josh OG and Crowan episodes we're relying too much on those. No, us two schmucks, we're getting downloads too, man. So high five, oh no, high five over the internet. Boom, there we go. We'll figure that out someday, how to do that. But yeah, so really appreciate it. But guys, if you are listening on iTunes or whatever platform, please do leave a review. It helps out tremendously. If you're on YouTube or Twitch, hit the follow, subscribe, all that good stuff. Make sure you do that. But enough of that boring jargon stuff. Let's talk about our weeks in Teamfight Tactics. Boop, let's start with you. How was your grind?
It's the same as it always has been, my friend. Exactly the same. And the funny thing is I was like, okay, I'm gonna commit to build, and just something about this meta that like. Whenever it's not the meta, it's me. It's me. I'm the
No,
problem.
no, no, no. You're never the
Because
problem. That's the first rule of single player games. You are not the problem.
because
It's the
I'll go into a
meta.
game and be like, all right, okay, cool. I got a Mordekaiser. I got a bunch of Mords here. I got some early Rangers. Okay, I'll do like the Rangers Knights thing that's super
Mm-hmm.
popular
Mm-hmm.
in Korea, and then I'll get like one Varus, or I'll get like all four Rangers, but they'll never be over level 1 for the rest of the game, including the Vayne. And so like
Oh.
I'll have all the right people. And then I'll lose anyway. And then I'll be like, okay, cool. I'm gonna go Sorks. And then I went Sorks. And then I've just been getting a lot of fourths and thirds. And then like
It's a good problem
basically
to have.
because of that, anytime you get anything 6th to 8th, like those 5 games that I just played and got 4th in and 3rd in
Flushed
are
right down the
are
drain.
deleted just for me to get 4th in 4 more games, right?
Mhm.
I gotta find a way. I think it might be my itemization. I just like building items on people that normally don't get items because I like to be different. But
Mhm.
maybe I need to finally say to myself, they don't get items because they're bad. And just because I think it's cool to have a Shojin's and a Rage Blade on a Twisted Fate doesn't
I
mean
mean, that's pretty strong. I gotta say, that's pretty
I mean,
good.
it is, but not with me. For some, I always get the red card. When I face other
Oof.
Twisted Fates, they always get the blue card, an occasional yellow, but all of mine are red cards. And yeah, and I just get stuck with like one cost units. I'll get like a really nice early game, and then I'm always like in first for most of them until chickens, and I just lose
Mhm.
the rest after that. So it's the late game that I'm struggling with.
Yeah, I've been having a similar problem. I think I'm on like a 4 or 5 game like actual exactly fourth place streak, which again, good problem to have.
How's
I'll
that 3 LP you got?
I'll take my it's what's that farmer meme? It's like it's not glamorous, but it's honest work. Like that's or something. I don't remember what the actual meme is, but that's how I feel. It's like, well, it's honest work it's an honest day's work for an honest day's pay. Except the LP tax man does come through whenever I get a 7th or 8th and just take all that money or LP away. But yeah, I'm just like slow grinding. I'm still in Plat 1. I haven't had any catastrophic failures yet. I really need to have like a good like 6 hour sesh where I'm just like slow grinding. Like give me some fourths, give me a
A
fifth, give
good
me a
six
third,
hour
give me
session of slow
yeah.
grinding, huh?
That's what I want. That's what I
Yeah,
want.
yeah.
Give it.
Feels good,
I
right?
don't need to pop off and get 2 firsts and get in and get into diamond because you know
You know,
what?
it's not about the pop off, right? It's all about it's
It's just,
about the journey,
it's the
right?
journey. It's you know what the true diamond is the friends you made along the way.
Yep, I hear that all the time.
Yeah,
It was
that's
in a
what.
fortune cookie I had earlier.
Yeah,
I didn't eat it because I'm gluten free, but it was there.
I ate the paper though. But yeah, so still on that
That has no
grind.
gluten in it.
Yeah.
You're
Um,
good.
there we go. That was my grind in the actual game. But for me, I actually dusted off the old broadcaster cap and co-casted the Heroes Hearth TFT Fight Night, which I mean, if you guys remember, don't look at the actual details, but I did so well in the last one that I played in. Don't look at what place I actually ended up getting or how many points I ended up accruing. The last one I played, I did so well that they're like, Blevins, we can't have you playing again. We need to give someone else a chance. Why don't you come cast this one? So I did. Myself and Crowan, who you guys may remember from episode 2, C9 Pro player, we casted the Fight Night, and I have the winner written here, but I'm gonna withhold it. You can look it up if you want, but I highly suggest you watch this. Not just because I casted it, uh, only mostly because I casted it.
Yeah.
But in all reality, it was an actual. It felt like an absolute masterclass. Like you watch Dog, you watch Skara, you watch Hafu, all these top players. Like they're very good, and they're playing at a high level. And they're playing against other players who are at a high level. But it's a different environment when you're on the ladder versus when you are playing in this sort of enclosed tournament space with this fight night format. And watching some of the players and the way that they played really was eye opening. A lot of that, like you mentioned, Boop, the Korean sort of knights, demons, rangers sort of flavor. Saw a lot of that. Saw I had my eyes opened to Evelyn. Let me tell you, she was hopping off.
Her and Poppy are, in my opinion, the
Yeah.
hidden OPs of the game. Like, I think
Yeah.
Poppy is just like one of the most solid units. But you get your Evelyn going, man, and she happens to be facing the right direction.
Mm-hmm.
See you later, team. Especially if they're Yordles.
Yeah, and also you put a gunblade on her, and it's like, oh, I'm so low, and just heals back up, kills 3 things, heals them back up. I had my eyes opened to Evelyn. I do think it takes a little bit of finesse because I also had those games where Evelyn doesn't really work. But I haven't really tried to stack the Evelyn, so I definitely want to be trying that out. But I highly, highly suggest you watch that Heroes Earth Fight Night. And again, only slightly because I casted it, but had a huge amount of fun there. Check those out live too. The really, really fun live show as well. But let's get into the meat and potatoes, Boo. We got a lot to cover
There's
here.
a lot of meat and potatoes. It's a smorgasbord. It's Thanksgiving.
Yeah, it is Thanksgiving dinner here at the Little Legends podcast, and we are going to start off here with the patch notes for 9.17. And if you're watching the video here or watching live, Bop, I've got some visual aids for us to help us look at these on the stream. If you're in podcast
Whoa! Look at the
if you're in podcast land, it's the same thing. I mean, it's still very scuffed, but it's slightly
It's there.
less scuffed. It's there, yes. It's still scuffed, but it is in fact there. Let's start off here with our our message from our trusty Riot Beer Nana, who's writing these patch notes. Hello, tacticians, and welcome to Teamfight Tactics patch 9.17 notes. This week, Pantheon crashes into the Convergence as the newest champion to join the roster. We also have a series of changes that culminate in giving some consistency to a few traits. Assassins are getting a mini rework that adds critical strike chance to their kits at the expense of some damage. Rangers have an increased chance to proc attack speed bonus. Shapeshifters should transform faster, and Yordles will dodge more. Now, let's get into it. We start with our brand new champion, Pantheon. He's a 5 cost. We talked a little bit about him last week, but now we actually have some official word here. 5 cost. He's a Dragon Guardian. His ultimate is Grand Starfall. Pantheon leaps into the air, crashing down towards the farthest enemy, stunning them for 4, 6, or 8 seconds, depending on his level. Enemies in Pantheon's path take 15, 30, or 45% of their max health as magic damage. They also burn for an additional 20% of their maximum health as true damage over 10 seconds. It applies a grievous wound. There's also a note here that an in-game tooltip is lagging behind, and it will be updated in patch 9.18. So just a little bit of a note there, but Boop, what is your initial take on our official viewing of Pantheon here?
Our official viewing of a Pantheon. So I think that as a 5 cost unit, it's going to make finding Kale even harder to find, which I am already having a very hard time doing. I think the last 3 times I've tried to go nobles, I have not found the Kale. Something I learned from your TFT tournament is just to have all your nobles on the bench, and then once you find your Kale, switch everyone out. And that's the thing.
Just hold them.
Yeah, exactly. And then you're keeping them from other people. Anyway, that's not who we're talking. We're talking about this odd combination of Dragon Guardian here that is Pantheon. One thing that is cool is that he does percent health damage at level 1. It's not that much unless you're a brawler comp. It's 15, 30 to 45. And so, but if you're able to find a level 2 Pantheon, that will be nutty. Plus some items. If you have them at that point, I think that will be absolutely huge. The interesting thing here is the Guardian on the other side.
Yeah.
Like, having him be magic resistance is cool, but the Guardian trait has been wishy-washy, I think, over the last couple of patches. I think some people really like it. Some people say it's just go Knights. right?
Right.
If you want that kind of damage mitigation. But in the end, I don't really know exactly where to place this guy. I think two things here that are like keywords here. It's
Hmm.
true damage and percent
Yep.
health. And that's something that not everyone has, and
And
so that's
grievous
what he's
wounds.
going to. And grievous wounds, but they got that got nerfed a little bit, so
Right.
it's not like a huge deal. But it is going to be an AOE type of situation without needing an item,
Mhm.
and that is just all stuff that other people don't get. But I think because he gets so many little things, that his overall impact might not actually be as grand as one might think.
Yeah, I mean, he's got a pretty big AOE stun. It does stun for 4 seconds. I mean, at level 3, let's not even talk about level 3. 4 seconds at level 1 is strong. 6 seconds at level 2 is also still very strong, especially.
It's
Um,
still shorter than a Sejuani and Leona ult,
right.
I believe.
True. And yeah, the stun only stuns one person. So, okay, the stun is not. Yeah, I'm seeing what you're saying here. He gets like a little bit of a. Here he gets a sprinkle of a stun. He gets a sprinkle of max health. He gets a sprinkle of grievous wounds.
Yeah, it's like if you were at a salad bar, but all of the lettuce, like, so basically, you're either at a salad bar with like amazing things, like there's even fried chicken there, right, to put in
Oh,
your
yep.
salad, or or we're back when we couldn't get romaine. And so you have
Right.
to make your salad with all these things that, like, for some reason, your salad has like black beans and peaches in it,
Yep.
right? Like sometimes all that stuff just doesn't go together, or it can be grossly overpowered because he does have so many little things, right?
Yeah, I mean, he is kind of a he's kind of a Cho'Gath with a Morello's in a box almost. I don't think as strong. I mean, he doesn't stun as many people, but he applies the grievous wounds to a lot of people. That's the. I guess it's really gonna, in my mind, it's really gonna depend on how big grievous wounds are in the upcoming patches because this patch cycle, these past 2 weeks, it's really been nobles focused. But if you have big AOE grievous wounds, and true damage
That's how
with
you nerf nobles
that's
without
how you nerf nobles.
nerfing nobles. But
Exactly.
they're
That's how
doing
you
that
kind of
too.
right. That's how you kind of counter them. You get a Cho'Gath with with void buff for uh, the true damage, and then you put a Morello on him to get that to prevent that healing. Pantheon kind of has that all in one box, which is nice. He does do damage as well. He seems very versatile. Obviously, Dragon Guardian isn't like that sort of noble buff where you're like, oh, I'm just mecha powerful now. It's more like, yeah, he fits. He basically fits as that like end game. Like, well, I'm running Sorks. I want my Asol to be protected, but I don't really want to run a Shyvana. Now I can run Pantheon when I get him. I've got my Guardians. Maybe I've got Guardian. Maybe I got the Leona in.
Yeah, he could
Uh,
fit in a nobles comp
yeah,
too.
he can
Like
fit into nobles. He can
that's the
fit
thing.
into a lot of things. And I think he plays kind of an all right role in a lot of things. And I think I mean the numbers. I'm not good enough at looking at the numbers and being like, oh, this is broken or not yet, at least. So we're really gonna have to see how strong he is as a unit in and of himself. But it seems like he's got a little sprinkle of a lot of really good things, and I think he's gonna fit
Yeah.
into a lot of these end game comps quite well.
Well, the big thing here is I think he's a character that's obviously, I think, meant to only ult once, which is why they give him 1530 and 45% of that
Hmm.
max health as magic damage. But the thing is I don't know how quickly he ults because since it's
Right.
maximum health as magic damage, the effect goes down as they have less health, I believe.
No, it
I mean, no,
doesn't.
no, no, it
It
doesn't. No,
it's
because it doesn't. But you will do more damage if they had more health because you're bringing it from a pool or something like that.
no.
I'm just
It's
trying
not
to.
health remaining, which would be it would get worse as time went on. It will always do the same amount of damage
Yeah, yeah,
regardless
yeah,
of how
yeah,
much
yeah.
health they have left. So it's
As
still
an idiot. Yep.
good. It like just has a I guess if it takes longer, it has a higher chance of one shotting them, I guess. Um,
Hmm.
but if you do it earlier, you get the I don't know. I don't know what his mana is. It doesn't say in these patch notes. I'm sure it's obviously it's been on PBE, so we'll just have to see. But it seems like, yeah, one alt. Probably, I would venture a guess that he's got a $1.25 mana, probably, and no starting mana, or maybe like 25 starting mana. I don't know. I don't.
Something. He'll have
Yeah,
something.
I don't
But
think he's gonna want to. I don't think they're gonna want him alting too many times.
yeah, and so making him a sorcerer, putting him in with Aesol could actually be really fun to try to circumvent
Yeah,
that. But we'll see. We'll see. We've got a lot of other things to chat about, but
yep,
Pantheon's definitely like one of the big ones. A new character.
yeah, he definitely is. Do you want to take the new systems changes here, Boo?
Okay, so I love this first one. The first carousel now has
Yep.
all 2 cost units, so everyone's going to be on equal footing at
Mm-hmm.
the beginning of the game. And I think what that's going to do is it's going to make it's going to make it more balanced at the very beginning, because then you can really choose. Hey, do I want to try to like force this comp, or because I
Mm-hmm.
actually found this item on this guy that I really like, or I could just sell this dude. Not a big deal. Everyone's on the same footing. The next one's also a huge deal because
Mm-hmm.
Ghost armies will no longer be easy wins.
Yep.
They'll have their tribe bonuses or trait bonuses applied. So the big one is like I've noticed that when their ghost doesn't hex tech me, right? And I'm like,
Yep.
oh, cool, it's a win. But now the ghosts are going to be just as strong as the regular units,
Mm-hmm.
which is not going to be a free win anymore. And I don't know. I think actually some people liked that the ghosts were kind of a pass. It was like winning the lottery, since only
Mm-hmm.
one person would have to do that, right? And then the next one is attack speed cap has been increased from 2.5 to 5. That's big for you Rageblade nutters out
Oh,
there. And then
yes.
tooltips are more clear, which will be very nice. They brought in the tooltip from like League, like when you're playing a character, and so now I think they're customizing it a little bit more for TFT. But of those
Mm-hmm.
four, if you were to choose one, like they're like, okay, we're only gonna put one of these in. Which one would it be?
Um, that's tough because I think they're all good, but they are all like a different type of good. If I had to choose and just had to lock in one, I'm picking the attack speed one because I think that one is the coolest. I really think Rageblade is a cool item. When I found out, because I hadn't played League in like 10 years, so I didn't know that it says it stacks infinitely, but there's actually a cap. I'm like, oh, well, that's kind of lame. I want to be able to see like like really like
Yeah.
infinitely fast. I wanted to see what that happened or what that makes. So, I mean, doubling it, I think that's enough to quench my thirst for now at least.
And I think what a lot of people don't think about when it comes to attack speed is it actually charges your ult way
Right.
faster too. And so like
Right.
it's an equivalent item as like a Shojin could be.
Mm-hmm.
Right, even though the Shojin's going to give you more mana at once, you might actually exceed that with
Right.
your Rage Blade if it's fully stacked. So this is like also Rage Blade's one of the items that like is one of the best troll items in the game
Mm-hmm.
too, because like you can give it to anybody and it'll be hilarious, right?
Yeah.
Like put it on your Blitzcrank, that's hilarious. Put it on Lulu,
True.
that's hilarious, right?
Put it on
And
Cassidy, and you've got nightmare fuel.
yeah, exactly. I mean, that's who I think of when I think of Rage Blade for
Yep.
some
Me too.
reason. And so, yeah, I'm excited to see just like the animations. And you give it to a Fiora with your 6 Blade Masters. That'll be nutty.
Yeah, that's nutty. The Ghost Army, I'm honestly not sure how I feel about it. I don't know if there's a good way to do that. But I guess now at least everyone is essentially on equal footing. There's no advantage or disadvantage now.
I think it might be really the reason why they're doing it is to shorten games.
Possibly.
So like people will lose more often because the ghost armies only happen once people have already started getting eliminated, right?
Right.
And so those people who would be surviving an extra round would now be going, would have to go to their next game, right?
Right.
So it might cut some of the game time down too.
Yeah, and I think that's probably overall good, especially at that point. Like if you're cutting it down at the top of the game where like you're just taking more damage early, that kind of feels bad. But here it's like, yeah,
You were
if
already losing, man.
right, if you were going to
Yeah.
face against this person regularly, it doesn't make any difference to you. You still get your gold if you win. So no, I like it. I think it's good. I think it's gonna feel weird. Although maybe it won't because I don't remember ever getting the Ghost Army hashtag bad RNG. JK, get over that. I just like to complain. But yeah, no, it's probably good. It's just gonna feel weird and maybe bad sometimes, just compared to what it was before. But I think inherently, in and of itself, it's good. And then the first carousel has all 2-cost units. That's just like a no-brainer. I think it's just so common at this point for you to obviously go for an item over the hero or the champion rather, and then sell it almost regardless of what it is for 2 gold, and then buy out your shop or buy out everything except for 1 if you didn't get gold in the first round. That's just such a common play and a commonly accepted like decent play at the start of the game that like yeah, just do that.
It's like one of like the 15 opening moves in chess or something, right? It's like
Right.
it's solidified itself like this is one of your like this is a legitimate strategy that will always be here, and it's good that the devs are accepting of that rather than trying to be like, no, we're going to put 3-cost units in the opening carousel, but balance it out by putting more 1-cost units there.
Yeah.
It's like, no, that's not the right way to do it. So
Yeah,
and
just make
and
it
it's
all
always
2.
yeah, and it's always good that everyone, no matter what, will have the same amount of money at the beginning
Right.
of the game, which is good.
What if they had 2-cost units with 1 item, or they had a 1-cost unit with a
A
completed
completed
item?
No.
But it's
I think
always a frozen heart.
it's always yes, yeah, it is. It's always a frozen heart. That would be. It's a sword breaker, guys. It's always a sword
I'll
breaker.
take the sword breaker. But yeah, that'd be interesting. No, I think just adding some consistency, like they said at the top of the notes, to smooth it out a
Yeah,
little bit.
and you actually hit on something because these patch notes aren't going to be that, but once we hit the items a little later,
Mm-hmm.
I think consistency is something they should try to strive for.
Yeah.
With the items, I think they're moving away from that a little bit. They're adding inconsistency as like a game
Yeah.
thing
Yep.
moving forward. But we'll get there. We'll get there. We'll get there. I'm getting
Yeah.
ahead of myself.
I think it makes sense. They're smoothing it out a bit here, and that was their stated goal. So I have nothing to disagree with here. Now we've got some trait changes. This is where the assassins they've been reworked to add a bit more consistency. They increase the delay before the assassins jump so they can access the backline more often.
That's huge.
That is absolutely huge.
That's enormous. Yeah, that is something that at first you might be like, huh, and then you think about it, you're like, oh my god, because you know that Jinx in the back. Well, fuck her, right? Like she's not going to be surrounded by her beefy wall of brawlers anymore.
Yep. So now the 3 trait bonus has gone from 125% crit damage to 75% crit damage and an additional 10% crit chance. 6 trait bonus has gone from 350% crit damage to 150% crit damage and 25% crit chance. Yeah, we'll talk about them all after we go through them. Hextech item disable duration has gone from 8 seconds to 7 seconds. Nobles, quote, tapping down their power a little bit. Their armor and magic resistance has gone from 60 down to 50, and the healing that they receive has gone from 35 to 25. Rangers are making them more consistent here. Their double attack speed chance has gone from 25%, 65% to 30, 70%. Shapeshifter, they're making them a little bit easier to transform. So the max mana for, I believe, all of the shapeshifters has gone down. Except for Swain. Nidalee's gone from 100 to 85. Jace's armor has increased from 30 to 35. Jace will now transform at max mana, even if there's no one in range to knock away. So that's a good distinction. So like we mentioned last week that he doesn't transform if he has RFC. Now, at least seemingly from this, he will. So maybe you can put that RFC on the Jace if you really wanted to. Shyvana's total mana has gone from 100 down to 85. Gnar's total mana has gone from 125 down to 100.
What?
And Yordle, they're sticking to the consistency theme here. Their dodge chance is gone from 30% and 55% to 35 and 60%.
Yeah, so you'll consistently miss more often.
Yeah, lots of changes here. Where do you want to start here, Boop?
So one, I just want to start like, why do we keep buffing Gnar? Because that's gonna eventually bite us in the butt.
Yeah, I think it
He's
may
a
have
cool
already.
unit.
He is cool.
I know, man. He is so good. And the thing about Gnar is you can put any item on him. That's like the other thing about him is like
Yeah.
he benefits from almost anything. And then you add the Yordle dodge now, and oh man, I saw an assassin Gnar
Wild.
in my games today. That was not fun.
Oh, more
Um,
Asnars.
yeah, seriously, those Asnars can really just go away, please. But I think the big one here is actually the assassin. It's the assassin rework. So basically, if you're a gambling man, I assume
Thought
that
I was born a
you're
gambling man.
you're that's what assassins are going to be. They're going to crit more often, but since they're going to be doing less damage, you're going to be needing them to crit more often. And
Mm-hmm.
so sometimes you'll get more damage, sometimes you'll get less, and I think that's what they wanted,
Mm-hmm.
rather than having it be so consistent across. Because 25% crit chance is one in every four auto attacks, right? But how long do your assassins say, there's a Morg on the other team? Are they even going to get 4 attacks in?
Right.
So you're going to really want them to crit within their first 2.
Mm-hmm.
But when they do, it's very interesting. I don't know what you think about it, man.
Yeah, I mean, I have not crunched the numbers, but it's actually like you can break it down into average number of attacks per round. Per round they're gonna get, how much this crit chance impacts it versus how much damage they lost. I mean, there's a beautiful mind on Reddit, I'm sure, that can crunch the numbers and just say, hey, yeah, assassins are now doing 25 extra damage around, or they're doing the same damage, but sometimes maybe. I mean, the note here is that they have been reworked to add a bit more consistency, so they are doing less damage, yes, but they're critting more often. I don't know.
But they're not adjusting their base attack damage.
Right.
It's all around their crit damage. And
Mm-hmm.
so now that they have a base a crit chance plus a crit damage means
Right.
that you're going to get crits more often,
Mm-hmm.
but you're going to need more of them to equal the 350%, right?
Right.
Because 150 plus 150 is 300. So yeah, I mean it's a damage nerf, but it's a buff in terms of you might on every attack the computer will when you have 6 assassins, you will have a 1 in 4 chance of critting, and more times often than not, you will get those crits that you need, probably.
Right.
But again, it can bite you in the butt. And I think that's what they want assassins to be, is
Yeah.
to be that gambling type and not to be consistently putting out damage or consistently not putting out damage. So I think in general, this makes assassins more fun. Like, I like those changes versus changes like Yordles. Well, I also have like a vendetta against Yordles. It's been a theme of mine ever since League of Legends came out. But basically, it's like with dodge, right? The thing about crits is they're fun, right? They're visually pleasing and they're impactful in a game that's very obvious, and you understand the give and take between crit and strike, right? It's like getting a headshot. With Yordles, with dodge, it's just like that's not that fun. I don't think dodge is fun. Just like in
it's
general.
like, oh, my attacks aren't working.
Oh,
okay.
all of this work that I put into my team comp nullified just because there are Yordles on the other side. And I think dodge could maybe find a place, and they're adding more of it in the game, which is nutty to me. But yeah, those are the 2 changes that my eye really goes to, outside of like the shapeshifter changes, which I think you could blanket statement as to they're finally going to be a viable comp that you can run potentially if you get the openings that you need.
Yeah, I was going to say shapeshifter, not like super interesting because they're just getting better, right? But the cool thing about shapeshifters is like when they transform, obviously, like that's the thing behind them. It's really lame when my Shyvana doesn't turn into a giant dragon, when my Gnar doesn't turn into Mega Gnar or whatever it's called. So that's cool. I like it. They're probably going to get played more. And a lot of the shapeshifters have like traits and origins that like leave you kind of open for a number of different comps. So I like that. Yordles, I kind of like dodge chance and the Yordle theme. I like it definitely more than you do. I don't quite have the vendetta for a couple of reasons. The first is that right now we have RFC, and we'll have another item which we'll be talking about later in the show that directly counters that. It makes it so that your attacks can't be dodged. So you can build that if Yordles becomes oppressive. It's like just build RFC for it. No, I mean you can just not get it, but
Yeah, if the game allows you to.
right.
Right?
The
See, like that's the thing, right? The crits, like there's even more that you can stack health, you can do all this.
right.
There's more to defend against it.
Well, the other thing for the dodging is that because of the way that it works, you're still getting mana from your attacks even if you miss. So the sorcerers are still able to cast their spells. So your Asol is still blasting the Yordles. They don't dodge. Um, they don't dodge spells. So that's another way to potentially mitigate that. And the other thing that has nothing to do with them being fair is like it's a different type of hype moment, right? Like if you have that Gnar with 6 Yordle bonus and they've killed everything else, and you've got 3 or 4 things attacking the Gnar, and he's dodge, turns into Mega Gnar, has this huge play. Like it's hashtag esports moments, man. That's
Unless
what we
you are the other player,
Right.
everyone else, yeah. But the one,
right.
the
I
one
mean, it
playing,
feels bad for that.
yeah.
Yeah. No. Exactly. So like, it's separate from that, right? Like, there's the player perspective and there's the spectator's perspective. I think from
Okay.
the spectator's perspective, this is all right. And that obviously you gotta not you specifically, but Riot has to weigh those different things in, and I think that they do look at those. Obviously, they're not.
I mean, I'm complaining about a 5% increase, right? So it's but like that again. Like
Yeah.
I am a biased caster here.
Sure.
I hate Yordles with deep and burning passion, and anything that makes them harder to kill,
Mhm.
it can just get right on out of here. But
Yeah.
but in the end, like well, again, the items are coming, but we'll talk about dodge again there.
Yeah. Hex Tech going down a second. Okay, I didn't think it was that big of a deal. I liked Hex Tech, but we talked a lot about that in the past weeks about how it's kind of like discard or counter a little bit in Magic. So I don't know. I mean, I think it kind of. I don't know. I almost liked it at 8 seconds because now it feels like if you hit that. I don't know. It's possible that it makes it much less impactful, but I guess it really depends. Like if you hit the Cho'Gath in the late game, like 7 seconds and 8 seconds, the difference between that's not going to matter because you're going to melt that frontliner. But like if you hit their Draven or something in the back line, like the 8 seconds, it's really not going to impact him. Obviously, it's going to make him less powerful, but he's still going to probably survive. He's still going to be putting out some damage. Then he turns on when his items turn back on, and he's still good. So I don't know. It's probably fine.
Well, and there are some bugs a little later on that Hextech was just like turning off items for the whole round. So they fixed those, but that's where the problem with Hextech was, not with the timing.
And people are saying rip nobles, but I mean it's definitely a significant nerf, like -10 on both the armor and magic resistance, and -10 on the healing. But I think they're still going to be good, which I think they want. They don't want nobles to not be playable. They just don't want it to be such a just like forcible comp. I still think you're going to have a legitimate strategy of being able to go nobles.
I think Kale's just such a great unit.
Kale, that is my problem. Not my problem because I like playing nobles, but I think the issue with nobles in general is that like every one of the units is at least mildly playable. Even like the Vayne, which is probably the worst one, maybe Fiora, they're still good, and like they leave you open. Like you can go Rangers, you can go Blade Masters, you can go Gunslingers, you can go like Knight, like all that stuff. It all synergizes together, and it synergizes with other things as well. And they're replaceable. You can build them, save them. I think it was just like they were all good units at all points in the games and left you so open that it didn't even feel like that much of a commitment to just hoard the nobles, and then flip the switch when you got the Kale or the Leona or whatever. But we'll see if that is a big impact. I mean, it's definitely going to make people play them less, but that almost makes me want to play them more Because if I can now just get all of the nobles and get them earlier, like, are they better now?
Well, yeah, they need because nobles are pretty dominant.
Yeah.
Just, like when someone gets 6 nobles, like that person will finish top 3.
Yeah.
And so, and most likely win the game. And so, it's good to diversify what you see in a game too.
Mhm.
Like the goal is to have counters, like counter comps. So like
Yes.
going up against this guy, you're like, yeah, oh, I have to avoid this other guy, and that makes that RNG a little bit more entertaining and exciting too.
Mhm. Yeah. All right, let's move on to the champion changes here, Boop.
There it is. I miss my mouth with water. Yeah, so we've got Graves. So they're changing the way his rifle spreads with rapid fire cannon. Lawnmower Graves will still maintain, but the range bonus, but it is now narrows his bullet spread like a shotgun choke. I'm gonna have to see a visual
Okay.
on that
Yeah.
because I'm not quite good at seeing that in my head.
I think instead of it being like a wedge out like it was, like it just keeps maintains the angle and goes out. It now is. I'm trying to do this on screen. Instead of it like going out like this, like a wedge, it's now going to narrow it in, but still like the maximum distance is still the same. Instead of it being like this, it's just going to be like this. If that makes sense.
Okay,
I
okay,
think.
I got you.
That's what I think.
I
That's
got you.
what it makes me think
Your
based
brain
on
is
that.
good. I mean, you casted the last Heroes Hearth TFT tournament.
Me got good brain. Me no go high school.
We got a small health buff for Warwick, which is nice. He's a very common 1-cost unit,
Yeah.
and it's just gonna
I
make him
thought he
ult.
was already good enough, but okay, I'll take it.
He falls off quicker than I think a lot of
does.
other 1-cost units
He
do,
does.
and so this will make sure that even after Krugs, that he'll get his ult off.
Yep.
Lysandra changes are one of the 2 big ones here. So the health is up 50. That's actually really big for her because she is someone who I've seen ult multiple times in a fight.
Yeah.
Starting mana and total mana adjustments is 50. She used to start with 50 and 125 down to 0 and 85, which means I actually think that is a little bit of a nerf to start with because she has more health.
75 to 80. Yeah, now it costs 85 to get.
Yeah, but because she has more health now,
Right.
it should balance out.
It's a burf.
It's a burf. But this is pretty interesting. So they nerfed level 1 ability damage by 25, but they buffed level 2 ability damage by.
Wait, no, they buffed
50.
ability damage.
Oh, they buffed it.
Yeah,
My
it's a
brain
buff all the way around.
Yeah, so up by 25, and then 275 to 325 is up by 50.
Yep.
And then 400 to 475 is up by 75. And anytime I see these, I usually just look at that middle number because that's where we're going to see most of these things live.
Yep.
But that Lysandra, I mean, it's so funny because I remember three patches ago, they made a small buff to Lysandra and specifically mentioned they didn't want her to be like a unit that you stacked items on.
Yeah.
And then now they're doing a damage buff, which, with her and Morello's like has always been good together, but you've never really wanted to commit your Morello's on Lysandra,
right?
Because it's better on someone else. But you're selling your Lysandra 90% of the time anyway. Like if you're going elementals, you're getting the Anivia, and then you're putting all the same items on. I don't know. I just. Anyway, Lucian, Relentless Pursuit, second shot now scales with attack speed. That's actually really, really cool, especially with the attack speed overall buff. Gangplank, this is a huge nerf. 200, 325, 450 to 150, 250. It's 100 less damage at rank 3, which is nutty. And then Leona stun is down by 1 second at level 2 and 2 seconds at level 3. I don't remember the last time I saw rank 3 Leona. She's so popular, but yeah. Which one do you want to talk about, Mr. Blev?
I don't want to talk about Gangplank and now how the level 3 Gangplank is basically only
the ugliest character in League of Legends, right?
I'm just so distraught about it that I'm upset. I mean, I don't have much to say about Lysandra except for shout outs to Osto, who was so dead set on stacking the Lysandra at game night that I'm sure he's already messaged me a couple of times today about how he's pretty pumped about the Lysandra buff here. So good there. Everything else seems good. I mean, I'm not sure. Does this Lucian's relentless pursuit second shot now scales with Lucian's attack speed? So does that mean? It deals more damage the more attack speed he has?
Yeah. So it'll happen more often with attack speed.
Oh, it didn't before?
Because he will have finished his cast sooner than before.
Oh, okay. So it doesn't have that like delay.
Yeah, exactly.
Okay.
Since the travel speed is faster, he can get back to building his ult a little bit faster.
Cool. All right, that's cool. I was kind of confused about that one before, so good to get that one fixed. I mean, did they really need to take Graves away too? Like, it was fun. It wasn't like super great. It was fun. I mean, this is still going to be good, but I liked the double RFC red buff Graves. I mean, that was just fun. Or Hush or Swordbreaker, whatever. It was fun. It was fun, guys. Give it back. But this is probably still fine. Everything else, with the exception of Gangplank, that's the worst. That's the worst nerf they've ever done. Give me Gangplank back. Hashtag justice for GP. But in all honesty, Gangplank was really, really good. So probably good for the game, I guess. Even though I love Gangplank. He's still good. He still enables a lot of stuff. He's still, a gunslinger, blade master. The ability damage is down, but like you're still getting the procs.
75 at rank 2, though, man. That's a lot of damage.
I know, but you're still getting the red buff or the Hush procs off.
And by 100 at rank 3, and there are some rank 3 Gangplanks living out there.
Oh yeah, I've gotten him plenty.
I mean, that just maybe, like, I wouldn't have said that he was that overtuned, because since he was melee, like, it was all about racing for the ultimate.
Mm-hmm.
But I guess he was getting his ult off more often than they would have liked. And because they didn't do any, like, counter nerfs or buffs to anything else. Right? Like, they didn't increase, or they didn't decrease his mana, right, to counteract less damage. And so, I mean, this is a straight up, like, this is the nerf hammer, man.
Yeah, and it's interesting because on so Riot Blaustoise had Mort on his stream, and they did a long like Q&A interview gameplay sesh. And one of the things that Mort said during that was he thinks that Gangplank is kind of overtuned, but they're not sure necessarily how they're going to nerf him. It might just be nerfing the things around him that make him less effective in the things that he enables. And they just said, nah, let's just chop off the beard of Gangplank and move on. So
well, I mean, it really sucks that this kind of nerfs that pirate, like early pirates. You're going to win even less often if you're going early pirates now. So we'll see. I think he was a little overtuned. This seems a bit much to me. But yeah.
There's wiggle room to get him back if they see his numbers are.
They only patch. They patch once a week, so
yeah.
We'll know soon enough.
Too worried yet. All right, we got some healing changes here. We got some healing changes here. The quote here from Riot: healing effects were tuned around grievous wounds, completely turning them off. This is what they were before. They were tuned. Yes, for them getting completely turned off. Now, since we're reducing grievous wounds effects, which we did talk about. Oh, no, they're talking about it right here. We're also reducing the effectiveness of other healing effects to keep them from becoming too strong. So Grievous Wounds, which, if you're unfamiliar, that's what is applied with Red Buff and Morellonomicon. The healing reduction has gone from 100%, so completely turning off the healing, now down to 80%, so it's reducing 80% of the healing. Bloodthirster's healing is now going from 50% of damage down to 40% of damage. Hextech Gunblades going from 33% of damage down to 25% of damage. Swain's Demon Flare healing is going from 50, 90, 130 to 40, 70, 100. And Redemption's healing is going from 1500 down to 1200.
This is still a redemption buff, though. I actually can see this item getting built way more now that it will always heal. Like think about that, right? Like before with Redemption and like there was a Cho with Morelos on the other side,
Yeah,
you would just not
turned
get
off
it,
the item,
right?
garbage.
Yeah,
Yeah,
exactly. And so now you're always going to get it, and sometimes like that little bit is all you need to
true.
make it through to the end. And I think the term is redemption, right? And so
Right.
they obviously knew that because a 300 nerf to an item that sucked already,
Yeah.
right? It might be a little bit of an overcompensation, but because it will always heal,
Hmm.
like it could be huge for you and your team with I think certain team comps that need just that a little extra beef
Hmm.
to be a little bit better. And so I'm actually excited to try out some redemption stuff.
Yeah, I'm just gonna go ahead and assume that that none of these numbers are overtuned or undertuned, and just assume that they're roughly the same power level, at least comparatively. Obviously, this is still a huge buff to healing because even though like the Grievous wounds have been down, it's down 20%. None of the healing has gone down by that much, so that's
Yeah.
a buff to healing, and B, like there's a on off difference between 100% reduction and anything that's below 100% reduction,
Yep.
right?
Yep.
So that's huge for healing. Also worth noting here, with the exception of Swain, none of the other champs that provide healing, like Lulu or Nidalee, or there maybe is another one that I can't think of off the top of my head. None of those healings have been reduced.
So the other thing that's not on here is Warmogs, and so I think
Oh
I
yes.
actually think Warmogs becomes a little bit more valuable here too.
Oh, man.
I love that item. It's just like it sucks because late game, like
You
it's
get
just
hit with
like
one red buff attack
yeah,
or
it's just
yeah.
extra health at that
Yep.
point. But now, like again, that slowly but surely. I mean, you put like Warmogs on Gnar
Gnar. Oh,
um
it's gonna be so
like
hard to kill.
or
Oh my
or
god.
Warmag Shen, right? Like so, because I think what they want is tanks to have tank items. Because I think a lot of the
Hmm.
times now you have Cho'Gath with Morellos and
Right.
Rabadon's Death Cap, and with the reduction in healing, you can actually build things like a Warmogs with a Phantom Dancer on a Shen. That would be
Hmm.
huge, right? And so, yeah, this is a Warmogs buff.
Huge Warmogs buff, and Warmogs was already kind of like teetering on that like B A tier type
It's
of
good early game, really good early
really good
game.
early game, and like it's all also like part of that like raid boss type go all in. I mean, there's like you got your Draven or your Jinx hyper carry, but then there's the raid boss of like you're never killing this.
Yeah, yeah. I think the game has a lot of carries like Draven and Jinx. There aren't like there needs to be some type of tank build that
Yes,
you,
I
you
like
can
it.
do to carry as well,
Hmm.
and reducing healing is how you get there. Because that was how you beat brawlers, and brawlers just had
Hmm.
that big nerf, and so it wasn't really
Right.
that big. I've seen brawlers do pretty well still,
Yep.
but now that grievous wounds aren't going to affect them as much, right? Go ahead and build your double war mugs, right? Giant's belt becomes a better item like all of a sudden, and so
Yep.
yeah, it's really cool when you kind of like break it down and think about what's not listed, like you said,
Yep.
on these healing changes.
Yep. I just like having more effective options for my belts. It's like, well, I'm building a Morello or I'm building a red buff, depending on if I'm going attack damage or if I'm going
Yep.
spell damage. Now it's like, well, I could go Warmogs or I could go
Redemption.
Redemption. So, or I can
Sorry,
go
Hydra. You're gonna have to wait a little while
Hydra.
longer.
I like Hydra as an item. I just don't think I like the concept of it. I just don't know if it's strong enough yet. Maybe we can be
Maybe
getting
now,
there.
like you could do. I mean, if you find yourselves with five giant spells, you could do double Warmog's Hydra for somebody. That would be really fun.
Gnar, not the worst. Not the worst.
And as I go back to what I said about Gnar, you can build literally anything
Yeah.
you want on that character.
Yep.
So, uh,
It's
proven here
a
once more.
spicy meatball. Quick, do we want to go through these bug fixes, or
So
at least
I
name
think
them?
like let's pick our favorite because last
Okay.
week we actually were like, oh yeah, some of these bugs are really funny because like we didn't know that the game was broken, and
Yes. Oh
so
yes, there
for
is one that is pretty funny that was
yeah
pointed
for
out to me.
me
Let's see
it's
if it's the one that I picked.
it's definitely one of these hex tech changes.
Okay, good. I got one for it.
Okay, and then it is any of the ones where Ionic Spark Infinity Edge, Zeke's Herald, and Locket were all just canceled by Hextech for the whole game. It
Wait, the
wasn't
whole
even,
game?
yeah, not the whole game, for
The whole
the round,
Oh,
right?
okay. I
So
was gonna say,
basically,
oh.
the idea, and I thought that was intentional at first. So the idea was like, I thought it was just like a way to shut off Locket, right? And you would just need to do, but no, they wanted the Locket to institute after Hextech came off, but that wasn't happening.
That would
What was
almost be
yours?
better. Mine was one that Deathblow pointed out to me, and he's fixed Warwick spawning a new Warwick if he dies mid-leap. It's like, yes, I killed this. What? There's another one?
And it just stands there,
Yeah,
like
it's
just
so
looking
good.
all cool.
Yeah, it's just like, oh my
and
God,
then
there's another one.
and then this one, I didn't know it was a bug. I thought people were just like really good at timing. Was the how they were able to get into the middle of the circle at the beginning of the game? They finally fixed that. What's not on here is anything about facing the same person 2 times in a row.
Yeah, Mort did talk a little bit about that on that Q&A stream. He said it's not good now. They have some changes that they want to make that are also not ideal, and it didn't sound like it wasn't super inspiring about their plans for it. It's like they don't really one thing was like they're gonna keep it kind of as is for the early game, and then when you get into like top 5 or top 4, they switch it to a different thing that's different. I don't really know how you change it unless you just like go down the line, right? And like everyone faces each other once and then you play, then you repeat again. I don't know. Maybe there's a reason that they don't want to do that. But
it's one of those problems that just feels like it's simple, right? Like,
right.
but obviously isn't. So we'll see.
Yeah.
And unfortunately, they also added the ability to mute players, so you can't consistently have your Damation silvering.
Boo.
Yeah.
Let me troll people. I'm just gonna pretend that I'm still trolling them.
Yeah, you're gonna have
them in my mind.
You'll know that my my little legend is rubbing his butt in your face. Don't worry about it.
My hush tail is always twerking or making a really annoying noise. Okay, the last here we got some miscellaneous updated Dragon Elder Dragon Fireball effects. Okay, yeah, you can now mute people and added some visual effects to show off your win streak on the scoreboard. Cool, that's good. I guess now it's like, I mean, not like you're really able to do anything about it, but it's like you get a better understanding of like, oh, this person is crushing right now. Maybe I need to play for the long game or the short game or what have you. It's slight, just quality of life stuff. But okay, big patch there. That's big, but guess what, guys?
It gets even bigger.
It's not the biggest thing. We've got some brand spanking new, and I mean spanking new items here that have been announced. Not that are in the game yet, but are going to be in the 9.18 patch, which is in 2 weeks from tomorrow. We'll be talking about the 9.18 patch notes 2 weeks from today, probably. But let's just run through this. TFT update, powerful punch-ups. Sparring gloves have magically appeared in the conversions like mana from heaven, or RNG from minions, to provide you and your team with all your critical strike and dodging needs. This is what we've been alluding to the whole show. These gloves combine with all existing item components to make 8 new items and a reworked Infinity Edge. Sword of the Divine has been removed. Its recipe and Infinity Edges one now create 2 more new items. They will join the roster in patch 9.18. The TLDR, even though we just read it, so I guess, well, 1 new item component, 8 new items from that component, plus Infinity Edge, 1 Sword of the Divine removed, 2 new items created from old Infinity Edge and Sword of the Divine recipes. Here are the deets, and we can just yeah, we can just. Do you want to just switch off of every other one, or do we want to go through them like we did before?
Let's because we might be here for like 4 hours if we talk about each one of these individually. Because I have some issues with some of these. But let's go ahead and let's just go through all of them and like give the Spark Notes version, and then like pick like our personal top 3 to talk about, because we might end up talking about more than half of them anyway. So yeah, why don't you get it going?
All right. Let's run through this. So the sparring glove, this is the uncompleted item. This is the newbie here. Sparring gloves, they give plus 10 dodge chance. And the quote here is float like a butterfly. They also give plus 10 crit chance. Sting like a bee. The note here is we didn't want to disrupt the balance of offensive and defensive items, so we made sparring gloves capable of either. If the finished item, so this is new. This is a new distinction here for one of these items. If the finished item is offensive in nature, so attack damage, attack speed, what have you, the stat line shifts to plus 20 crit, and if it is defensive, so armor, health, etc., it shifts to plus 20% dodge. So
you give that to a Yordle who is already at 70% dodge. They could conceivably get to 90% dodge.
And you can have more than one sparring gloves items on.
All right, Thief's Gloves. We'll go back to that. So that's the base. That's the base there.
Yes.
So the Thief's Gloves are 2 sparring gloves. A champion holding Thief's Gloves can't hold other items except temporary ones gained by this item. Thieves' Gloves cannot be given to a champion that already holds an item. On round start, gain 2 temporary items or qualities based on your player level for those that like items with their items. So it sounds like you put this on someone, and at the beginning of every round, they just get a random completed item.
Yep. They just spin the wheel.
That's kind of fun. I do kind of like that.
Yeah.
That's good RNG in my opinion, because there's the take of the give there, right? Because you might get an arcane gauntlet, which we'll talk about a little bit later.
Yeah.
Because that one's pretty crazy. Or you might get a they took away Sword of the Divine. So what is going to be the new worst item?
I mean, it's probably still what were we just talking about? Titanic.
Yeah, probably. Yeah, or you might get a Titanic Hydra on your Acel, right?
Yeah,
could happen.
So it spawns 2 temporary items. So they could. I think what it's basically saying is that once you are player level high enough, you
might get
getting
2 completed
full
items.
Yeah, so that's kind of could be crazy. And like we were just saying, Gnar is kind of good with any item. So just throw this on Gnar, and it's like, I don't care. Sometimes I'm tank, sometimes I'm unkillable, sometimes
and
I'm
you still get the. I
hyper
believe you
carry.
get the base dodge still. And actually no, since it's both sparring gloves, I wonder if they just cancel each other out. Interesting.
I don't know what they. Oh, maybe it's probably just plus 20 in both. I'm assuming, right? Because that's what would normally happen. I don't know. We'll see. My assumption is that it gives plus 20 dodge and plus 20 crit, which is already pretty strong. And then the other items, it just seems like gravy. That seems like a strong item.
Or is it going to be like Force of Nature, where it's like it doesn't give stats, it just gives this thing? Could be.
Well,
I don't know.
Yeah, but that makes more sense because Spatula doesn't give you stats. I don't know. We'll see. No reason to really speculate on. Literally just speculation. Okay, we got Hand of Justice. The recipe is sparring gloves plus Tear of the Goddess. Let me move that down. At the beginning of the planning phase, the wearer randomly gains either 40 increased damage or 40 life on hit until end of round. For those who aren't great with decisions. This is an interesting one for a couple of reasons. A, it gives you it's a pretty heavy you put this on a Draven and either way you're good. You put this on a Jinx, it's a pretty heavy
it's good. It'll be good on all of the Blade Masters just in general.
What's kind of weird about it is what does mana count as? Is that a defensive trait or is that an offensive trait? I'm assuming it's offensive.
Yeah, I would assume it's offensive.
But I mean, if you're like a Lulu's alt is technically I don't know. So I'm assuming it's offensive, but again, no reason to spend too much time on speculation. But this is a very offensive item, not because life on hit is offensive, but because life on hit is going to go on a very offensive champion. But these 2 items, Sparring Gloves and Tear of the Goddess, are not necessarily super offensive items. So it's all of your sword items are going to be pretty offensive. Your bow items are going to be offensive, but Tear is not usually offensive, and Sparring Gloves is neutral. So it's this is an interesting item in in
Well,
that
I think
case.
since 2 tiers build into Seraphs, I think
Right.
it would lean towards offense. But next up is
Yeah.
going to be the new Infinity Edge. Sparring Gloves plus BF Sword, 200% crit damage when you want to crit, but like even more so. What do you think about like these like cheeky patch notes? I don't know if I like these like little
I
asides,
I
to be
love
completely honest.
I love the flavor texts. Keep them
I
coming.
like I love flavor text, but I feel like on this one they might be trying a bit too
I
hard.
feel like I want them in italics, and I want because then I like naturally read them in like a little impish voice, or maybe a yordle voice, which may be why you hate them because you're reading them with a
Oh,
yordle voice in
maybe,
your brain.
maybe that might be it. Maybe I just don't like fun, Blev. Have you
Yeah,
not realized yet?
I guess
Um,
not.
Go on and take a Thanos' glove.
Yeah, the Thanos, the Infinity Gauntlet, which is actually called the Arcane Gauntlet, sparring gloves plus the needlessly large rod, not Nard Lod. Your abilities can critically strike, and the ever so clever little flavor text here is when your Aesol dreams of being a Draven.
See, like that one was good,
Yeah, it
but
was.
the Infinity Edge one, not so much.
Yeah, I mean, they're
Anyways,
not all. Hey, you know what? They're not all. These probably aren't going into the writers' room and getting punch ups. Which
and
in
getting
League of Legends, if
workshopped.
you're
Yep.
League of Legends, if you are looking for workshop writers for your patch notes, email me at blevmedia@gmail.com. I do that.
Sponsor
Yeah,
me, please.
this is sponsor me, or I'll do it probably for free. I mean, strike that part. Uh, yeah, I mean, God, thinking of Aesol critting kind of makes me sick to my stomach. Thinking of Karthus critting kind of makes me sick to my stomach. Cho'Gath's alt critting, Sejuani alt critting. Oh,
So
this is
I would
scary.
assume that each individual character will have its own crit chance. So I don't think like all of Karthus' ult would crit.
I
I think it
agree.
would crit on.
My thought
That's
is
what
the
my
same.
gut would say, and I don't know what the percent. It doesn't say like the percent that they could critically hit.
Right.
I'm assuming it's going to be
And
low.
also, does the sparring gloves 20% crit chance, which is provided by Arcane Gauntlet, also maybe that's what it is. Maybe that
Oh, maybe it is the
applies.
20%.
Okay.
Okay, yeah. So 20% crit chance isn't that much actually,
Yeah, you're
but if
probably
you
only
do spread
critting
it,
one thing with Karthus, right?
or
Because
two, same thing with Asol, but it might be
yeah,
worth it. Like this feels like it might be better. You would think about Asol, but something like Ari could like really do some damage since she gets a
yeah.
return on it as well.
Hmm.
Um, like your level one Viger could could really, you don't really need to put this on Viger just in general, but your level one Viger
Yeah,
could really benefit from this.
yeah.
Who else? Aatrox? No.
No,
Um,
Aatrox could work.
Pantheon. If we're
Pantheon, yeah.
going, if we're or insert mage here.
Right.
Lysandra actually could actually be a big one.
Why? So strong. Yeah, no, I think it's cool. Its effectiveness, I guess, I'll let the pros figure that one out. But it's a cool item. It's unique. A lot of these are unique, so I thumbs up in my mind.
Next up is Quicksilver. I actually really like the art for this one.
Yeah.
Recipe is sparring gloves and a Negatron cloak, which is good. Negatron cloak needs more things to be built
Yep.
into. It prevents the next crowd control effect applied to the wearer, refreshes every 5 seconds. Can't touch this, but no. I would have gone.
I mean,
I
if you're
thought it
not
was
gonna put your heart into
ba-
it, Boop, come on.
banana na. Um, I'm sorry. I'm in a weird mood. Anyway, so
I don't
quick.
have the shame bell drop on this podcast.
I know. I'm sorry. I'm sorry. I'll do it if we ever cast together. We can. I'll sing a lot of songs for you. um, but this is cool. I actually really like this because crowd control is something that really hurts rangers and stuff like that. But
Mhm.
and what are you gonna do with your Negatron anyway if you can't find a sword? So
Right.
uh, there it is.
Plus the 20% dodge chance just baked into it. I mean, BKB or Black King Bar from Dota and also from Underlords, very strong item. That is a better item than this because it's not just crowd control effects that counters. That just counters magic damage and magic effects. So that's obviously better. But this is good. I mean, think about it. Like you throwing the like, how often does your your Rengar your Rengar carry just get completely destroyed if you get hit with Cho alt or get frozen from Ash Arrow. Same with like Draven or something. Like you might be sacrificing one of your hyper carry items in lieu of something like this. You're dodging a few more attacks, but you're also like, oh, well, the errant Sejuani alt is not going to completely destroy my carry, and therefore my chances here.
This will actually be really good on Kennen, because
yeah.
anyone who channels their ultimate that gets canceled from like this will be huge
Well,
for them.
the channel doesn't. I don't think that maybe it does. No, I'm trying to think. Does she?
It says prevents the next crowd control
Well,
effect. So
I'm
like,
just trying to think. Does Kennen's alt get canceled if you stun her? Because she doesn't get. It doesn't get
oh
canceled.
no.
If
So
you,
this is better. This is better for Karthus then. Like the Karthuses of the world.
Yes, very good.
And Shen and his hand games.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Strong item and a really cool one as well. Up next, we've got Iceborne Gauntlet. Recipe is sparring gloves plus chain vest. On dodge, which you're getting 20 dodge here, create an expandable 30% attack speed slow zone. Just how expandable? No one knows. I'm assuming that Riot knows, that the devs know how expandable it is, but that makes me think it can get pretty big. So every time that you're missing, so 1 out of every 5 attacks base, you're creating a bigger and bigger, essentially, frozen what is it, frozen heart field, right? I don't know what the stat on frozen heart is, but that's essentially what you're doing. And I mean, that's pretty good. I don't know if this attack speed slow zone stacks, so like if you have this plus frozen heart or like 2 of these, like are you slowing a ton? Can you have the meme build where you build nothing but these and just slow them down to a halt like that?
And how long does it last is my question.
Based on what it says, it makes me think that it just stays like that as long as they're in the zone. That's what it makes me think, but I don't know. Very interesting.
That could make it like a super good item if it is permanent and ever expanding. Because then everyone is just going like it'll be like an Anivia for everybody,
right?
If you get it there.
Mm-hmm.
This next one's got a funny name.
Yes.
Backhand. Because only fancy people slap with the back of their hand.
True.
So the recipe is sparring gloves and a giant spell. The wearer starts combat with a spell shield. Stun the enemy that breaks the shield for a long time. An eye for an eye in item form. And so this is it's a single target thing. And it would be against someone who has CC effect. So while I think this might look a little bit better at first glance, it might not actually be like the most amazing thing.
Yeah, I'm not sure how this compares to the Quicksilver.
So the Quicksilver refreshes but doesn't stun. And so the backhand, and it says for a long time. And so if we think about the longest stuns in the game, it's Leona's and Sejuani's ult,
right,
which is a base 5. And so it's going to be at least a 5-second stun. So that actually could be good. Like say there's a Cho'Gath on the other team, you've got this item, and since it's like an AoE stun, it'll get stunned for a period of time. So but like the problem is that like it already ulted, so it's already gotten the value.
Right. And like, is Cho's alt going to be the first spell that hits you?
Exactly.
It's not just the crowd control. If you get hit with an Ahri alt, it stuns. If you get hit with a Lucian bullet, it stuns him and removes the shield.
Yeah, and something that I'm just now thinking about, just the addition of items is inherently going to make Hextech better. So
yep.
Think about that as well.
Yeah, for sure. The one thing that I really have to criticize here is that they have an eye for an eye in item form, but they just spelled out item normally, but didn't put. They should have spelled it EYE tem form.
Yeah, I mean they really should have, Blev. You're
Ryan,
so much funnier. Yeah, exactly.
Hire me as a writer specifically for
just
patch
like
notes.
if you need a job application, this is it.
Yeah, I'm referring. I will send you. This is my cover letter. This is my official cover letter, Riot. Please contract me, please. Moving.
You did cast the last Heroes Hearth
I'm
TFT.
just saying the last competitive team fight tactics tournament, I was 50% of the cast.
That's saying something. That's 50% of something. If I've ever heard it myself, and I'm a numbers guy.
It's a 50-50. I either did it or I didn't. You never know.
This
Next
next
up,
one's fun.
yeah, this one is very fun. I like this one a lot. Let me move this up a little bit. There we go. Repeating crossbow. The recipe is the sparring gloves plus the recurve bow. This one's going to be hotly contested. When the wearer dies, repeating crossbow passes to a new ally, and they gain an additional 20% crit chance and plus 20% attack speed. This stacks with each pass of the item. And you get a repeating crossbow. You get a repeating crossbow. You get a repeating crossbow.
Excuse me, Oprah, O Network.
Yeah.
Blev also has a job application.
Yeah. I do.
I will write your recommendation.
Yeah. I like it. It's a cool item. It's strong, right? Like, do you get, after 5 passes, do you just get 100% crit chance?
Like, it looks like it actually. Oh, so this will be really fun on assassins.
Yes.
And since you'll have like the base, and since they die so quickly, you'll get someone at the end who would only need to attack like a couple more times. It'll be like a race at that point. That's cool. I like that.
Oh man, you can make like a I don't know. You can make someone who has a high base attack speed. You make a Kale an assassin, and then have her get this. I don't know. It's fun. I like the increasing attack speed, like we talked about with Rageblade earlier. Fun item. I don't know how great it is. It seems like it's good in, like you said, assassins, or maybe there's a comp that's good.
Not enough things build out for recurve bow. Am I right?
Yeah, I mean, recurve bow is just such a throwaway item that you're just gonna end up getting this one. This just seems like, I don't think there's really a Trollden from Hearthstone equivalent, at least not yet, for teamfight tactics. This item seems like this would create a lot of those types of moments, potentially.
This is what you call a clown fiesta.
Yes.
Is what I would call an item like this. But that kind of stuff is fun. We'll see how fun it is, like, to see it over and over again.
Yeah.
Right? But, like, at least the first time, a lot of people are going to be trying this out because of the memory. It'll be fun. I like this one.
Yeah, this seems like the type of item that you don't want to be overpowered, because it stops becoming fun when it's just really good and people are dominating with it. It's fun when it's like, well, I got my comp and I've got this knight brawlers comp. It has no damage whatsoever, but guess what? This repeating crossbow we're gonna slowly like tickle the other team, and then you're gonna kill a brawler, it's gonna pass. You're gonna kill another, it's gonna pass, and then it's eventually gonna get on my Gnar at the end or whatever, my Blitzcrank, and he's gonna be attacking and critting so fast. It's gonna be great. That's
all right. And for some reason, this one landed on me. Mittens, sparring glove plus golden spatula. I'm sure you're thinking about what the spatula would do. It's going to give an extra 10% crit chance and 10% dodge chance, so it's 20 each.
Yep.
To the wearer, and the wearer is also a Yordle, and it tastes purple.
I don't get that.
So one of Lulu's voice lines is, "That tastes like purple."
Oh, okay.
Yeah, and yes, you're not like a League of Legends fan. You're a Teamfight Tactics fan. And
hey, I started playing League. I remember when Xin Zhao came out. Okay, so let's not talk about how long I've been playing. Even though I took like an 8-year hiatus.
It's so funny. It was actually about the same time I came out. That was a good joke. I was actually pretty
good.
proud of that.
Ryan, we have 2 writers here sending in applications.
If you need a diversity hire, I'm right here.
I'm diverse in the sense that I have absolutely no diverse qualities about myself. So that's the most diverse.
I don't think that's how that works, but we're going to go ahead and
manifest
continue.
Manifest destiny. Right, if you're looking for
if you were to make anyone a Yordle, who would be the most annoying one? You can only pick one. Who would it be?
Now, are you talking about annoying from a gameplay perspective, or annoying from their character is now in Yordle form and you have to listen to them talk
Man,
as a Yordle?
there are going to be some really good fan art after these mittens get on some
Oh yeah,
people.
is this gonna be Bowsette all over again?
Yeah, I think so. I think it might. So okay, hear me out here.
Okay.
I think it'll be really fun on Rengar because he's also wild, and so he'll get the Gnar, and then that way you'll
Yeah.
also have in your Yordle comp.
Yeah.
You don't necessarily have to have the Ari, but you do for the sorcerer buff. I don't know, but I think Rengar could be
Yeah,
cool.
but assassins, you don't
Uh,
need the sorcerers if you're growing assassins with
Yep, yep.
Rengar.
And the only thing is you
Oh,
only want you don't need all six, right? So if you only want a little bit of dodge, and it's already giving you 20% dodge,
right.
right? So the other
Ooh.
one would be is if somehow you were able to get it on Asol, with a Shyvana on the team as well. So
Yeah.
since it already has
Oh
the
man.
defense on magic resistance, it'll also have dodge and maybe an ability that can crit.
Right? Yeah, you can give the arcane gauntlet. You're getting. I know you're getting the crit chance from that. So, yeah, man, 40% crit chance and 20% plus the what is it? 35% dodge. So 55% dodge. Magic. Is it immunity for dragons or is it just resistance? I forget. I know it used to be immunity, but man, that's scary. Both of those are scary because Rengar being able to dodge things is scary. Asol being able to dodge and crit, man. There's what I'm liking about this in general is that it sounds like we're gonna have a lot more like hyper or at least very strong carry options outside of Draven and Jinx, and potentially some of the other ones that we've been seeing a lot. So opening up a lot here. Um, we got two more items here. Actually, technically, we have three.
Three.
Yeah, we've
Yeah.
got three. Two more non-consumable items. We'll get to the consumable in a bit. So this one, since Infinity Edge has a new recipe and Sword of the Divine has been removed, we've added two more items in their place. We have Lord's Edge, the Edge Lord's item, which is two BF swords now. A champion holding Lord's Edge can't hold other items except temporary ones gained by this item. What? Lord's Edge cannot be given to a champion that already holds an item. On takedown, so when they get a kill, gain a BF sword for the remainder of the round. For those of you doing the math at home, yes, a champion can hold 3 Lord's Edges by the end of the round. That's a spicy meatball.
That's just a lot of raw stats that you're getting for
Yeah.
someone. So we shall see. This could. I mean, it's just pure damage.
Right. It kind of turns any champ into a Jinx, kind of, because it's like, I mean, you don't get the attack speed, obviously, but they get a kill, they get stronger. They get that, which leads to another kill, which makes them stronger. Except there are then 2 more levels of getting stronger that you get to. I don't know. I mean, I hate to beat a dead wild Yordle here, well, a non-dead one, but this
Give
seems
it to
pretty
Gnar.
decent on Gnar, right? Because he's getting the passive bonus speed from wild bonus. It seems so good. Gnar is so good right now. They
Gnar is
really
so
like
good.
Gnar.
I
Must
mean,
really
I like Gnar.
Gnar.
I think he's a cool. I think
He
he's
is.
a really. I think he's one of the best designed units in the
Gnar.
game. I think like
Yeah.
his whole aesthetic is awesome.
Yep.
Like I love Gnar, and like I'm okay with Gnar being good. I'm not okay with Gnar being oppressive, but because there, it used to be like I don't want him to ever be like what Akali was when the game first started, right? Where
Mhm.
Akali was just like the best unit,
Yep.
right? For a very long time.
Right.
Anyway, the next one is going to be Last Whisper, BF Sword, and Recurve Bow. It's going to be this is the new rapid fire cannon. Attacks can't miss, so that's going to be removed from rapid fire cannon,
Yep.
and deal true damage equal to 5% of the target's maximum health. So Last Whisper in the game League of Legends is a tank busting item.
Okay.
And so I think this is going towards that aesthetic as well.
Mhm.
I mean, thematics as well, because 5% of the target's maximum health. This will be really, really good on Rangers. So
Yeah.
that's something to think about. Anyone who can attack fast,
Mm-hmm.
like Gnar, is going
Yep.
to do 5% of the target's maximum health
Yep.
every time they attack. So this might be good on a Rengar too. Any of honestly, like early game on Nidalee could be really good.
Yeah.
But when it comes to maximum health, early game you're not going to see as much damage as you
Right.
are late game when everyone's stacked already. But yeah, this next one though
Whoa, you
is
miss. You miss. I was saving it for you. You've got the best flavor text for you for this one.
no. Was that good? I did that like super smoothly too.
Cries and yordle. So good.
I'll be
Yeah.
fun one day. I'll be fun. I'll be fun one day.
It's all good. We are coming close to the end here. Oh, and one other thing. One more thing. Shout out to anyone who catches that reference. Another new item can drop, but this one's a little bit different. Nico's Help is a consumable item that you can place on a champion. When you do, Nico's Help is consumed, and a 1-star copy of the champion is instantly made and added to your bench.
We're gonna see a lot more level 2 legendary units.
What?
Yeah. Yep.
If your bench is full, Nico will just pop right back off. So no tricky business. Use Nico to complete a 3-star champion, or to quickly clone a powerful legendary champ. The choice is yours. That one seems pretty good.
Well, it's the way that they are counteracting potentially having too many characters, and so since
Okay.
you're not going to find them in their packs,
Yes.
as
like
as
a
as
mimic.
much, this is kind of like a fail-safe to in case that happens. So
Yeah.
like all these times we've been waiting for an extra legendary unit, or maybe we only need one more this character to get that 3-star Vi, right? Then it opens things up. We'll see how and like again, like it feels like, oh man, that's gonna make 3-cost units so much more common, but that's gonna drop just as much as other items drop, and they're adding 7 more items
Right.
into the game. 8 more items, including the consumable, and
Mhm.
so every item actually becomes more rare. So we'll see how often this comes, but that's a huge power spike to someone who potentially is in like last place that needs that unit.
This feels like if you're counting this as like almost like a new set of items, this feels like the spatula of this set. Like it feels like this is the unique thing. This is the crazy thing here.
Yep.
That gets added. I'm wondering if it actually is the same chance to drop as the other items, because I believe, and you guys can let me know on Discord or tweet at me if I'm wrong. I think that Spatula has a lower chance of dropping than the other items.
Else.
I think so. I'm not sure what the numbers are on there, but I feel like I remember hearing that somewhere, so I could be wrong. So I'm wondering if what the numbers are here for this. But this seems cool. It's one of those items that kind of like Spatula, where I'm like, I want to use it early, but also like it gets better later in some cases. So I don't know. I don't know when the best time to get this is. Probably right when you get your first 5-cost unit. It's probably pretty good. But yeah, overall on a scale of I don't have a good scale. A scale 1 to 10. How do you like these items? 1 being it's terrible, 10 being these are absolutely amazing, and I'm super happy about them.
I'm probably gonna be sitting at like a 7. Because one item that like really does get me excited, Russell's my jimmies in the right way, is the one that passes on after that person dies.
Yes.
That one's really, really cool. I like that mechanic because it's like, oh, what happened to their items after they die? Oh, we're just gonna pick them up, just like in D&D, right?
Yeah.
And so that one's cool. I just have a very, very large apprehension to dodge, just in general, and so. Because I think dodge is really unfun. It ranks up there with me for like the demon mechanic from way back when. Way back when, like 2.5 weeks ago, 3 weeks ago. But yeah, that's what I'm scared of. And since a lot of the items have dodge, that's pretty crazy. Yeah. What about you, man?
Yeah, I think I'm roughly the same way. I think I might even be closer to an 8 out of 10. I just like the new items. I thought items are in a good spot. Like, I was perfectly content with them not doing much with items. I did figure that they were going to, but I wasn't sure how they were going to. But I was perfectly fine with them. Just like, yeah, no, these are the items for the game. It's going to be kind of vanilla, which is fine. You don't need to add complexity in every place. But what I like here is like this set of items feels much more like a second set of like a new card game, right? Where like the first ones, they're pretty straightforward, they're pretty vanilla. They might, well, some are powerful, but like, these are much more unique effects, which I think is cool. They're not always all going to be more powerful than the original items that you're making, but these are very unique. So I'm wondering if they're gonna like backdate and like rework some of the old items to be more unique and niche. I don't know. It's cool. All of that is cool. But yeah, that's gonna be it for those items here. We are going real late here on the show, so I wanted to just kind of quickly go over a couple of cool builds that you guys sent us. And guys, remember, if you do want to send us in your first place builds that you get, go over to discord.me/Little Legends Podcast. We have a channel. Post your build. Just throw it right there. Boop, we got one of yours here. We got the Assassins here, and I believe you made an Assassin Gangplank.
Yeah, dude, it was hilarious. I don't remember the last time I giggled that hard because I also made my Zed a Blade Master, so I was able to get
Ooh.
like the buffs all around,
Yeah.
which was great. But just seeing like, I mean, pretty much you, Blev, like just jump as high as everyone else is jumping, was fascinating to me. It was cracking me up. And then I always forget that, like, for me, I always, when I make someone an assassin, the obvious thing is, oh, they can jump now. Then you're
Yeah.
like, oh yeah, they could crit for way more now.
Yeah.
And then just seeing that, along with the Blade Master thing, just not even needing the barrels,
Yep.
that was super fun. That was cool to see.
Yeah, that's really cool. I think giving someone who doesn't normally have assassin, giving them assassin is one of the most fun and most hilarious things you can do in
Yep.
the game.
Assassin Blitzcrank, am I right?
I suggested it at the fight night yesterday. It didn't happen, but I think it was the most five-head play you could make. The next one here we had from Catalyst. We had looks like a pretty standard demon comp here. I believe that's 6 demons plus Jinx. Maybe even making the Jinx a demon. Can't go wrong. A lot of mana steel. The demons are very strong. When you get them all level 2, especially the Swain, very strong there as well. We got Dr. Witz with his weird Australian oceanic region comps where he's saying he's got a 3-star Shyvana, a 3-star Elise. He's got the full suite of or no, he's got 4 shapeshifters here, and then some mages, sorks rather. Really strong. The notable thing here that I wouldn't have noticed if you didn't point this out: no one in the game went nobles. There's a couple people who have a few nobles, but no one went like straight nobles in this game, which I think is extremely rare, especially in this, now current. But
Yeah,
will be
Varus was a
patch.
very competitive pick in this game.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Very.
Yeah, and his Gnar was a sorcerer, I believe, in this one too.
Yes. Yes. So you can put anything on Gnar, and it doesn't.
You can
matter.
put anything on Gnar. That's the rule.
That is the confirmation that we're getting here. We had Clibbers here, who we talked about earlier, had a nice standard nobles comp with the Aatrox and a Misfortune here. Very strong. I think maybe even Blade Masters. Yeah, nice strong. Good old fashioned strong comp there with 2, 4, 6, 8. That's 10. There's a force of nature in that bad boy. At least one. Always good to see here. We had Osto here, who also had a tier 3 Shiv and a tier 3 Elise with a suite of what looks like spellcasters, a couple of demons, and 2 Shens in the Gnar. Just throw the Gnar in
Two
there.
Shens.
Yeah.
What the WTF? 2 Shens.
Hey, you know what? Sometimes 2 level 2. Sometimes you just need more than one level.
Yo,
2
man,
Shen.
you gotta brush up on your league memery, dude. 2 Shens is Monte Cristo and Doa. Yeah. Look it up. Look it up. Look up Two Shens.
I'll,
It's like a historical esports
I'll
league.
look it up. I did not know it. I just not like very recently watched the Monte Cristo and Doa casting like the Super Faker Zed play, which I heard people talking about, which is sweet. Speaking of Super Zed plays, I did not plan that. Jules, Jules RPG, who is the producer for the Heroes Hearth Fight Nights, had a Tier 3 Zed, a Tier 3 Kasten, a Tier 3 Kha'Zix, as well as the Cho and some demons and a Karthus, just for good measure. That's a Padlin if I've ever seen one there. Very strong comp. The last one here, Kyle Wynn. I put this one in. It's nothing special. It's your Nobles Blade Master Draven comp, but it was his level up game. Hashtag no more Iron Kyle. We now have a Bronze Kyle in the midst. All right, guys, that's gonna be it for this episode. This was a long one, but it was a spicy one with all the new stuff. Thank you so much for watching. Thank you, Twitch chat, for watching. We're over at twitch.tv/theblevins. We are going live on the show probably on either Tuesday or Monday, depending on the patch notes come out. But Boop, where can people find you on the internet?
At Booposaurus Rex on Twitter. Follow me. I'm trying to get my stream going. I say that every day in my head. It's like the equivalent of like I'm gonna go to the gym tomorrow. I swear.
Oh, don't
right?
say that because that makes me think you're never gonna do it then. Because I'm never.
What is a gym? But I haven't seen one since college. But in the end, right now, if I do get it up, it'll be on at Booposaurus Rex on Twitter, so you can find me there.
Yes, just do it.
Thanks, Shia.
Shia LaBeouf. Run for your life, it's Shia LaBeouf. Okay, no more singing for this show. At least for me.
So crazy actually. The piano player in that video I worked with here in Colorado. Yeah, he's from his name is Greg Nicoletti, and he's very, very talented.
I believe it.
Yeah,
small world. Yes. Make sure you guys follow the show. We are at LIL Legends Pod on Twitter, discord.me/Legends Podcast. That's where all the stuff is going to be. Those two places. Twitch.tv/TheBlevins is where I personally stream TFT, as well as where the show is living, at least for now. You can email us at littlelegendspodcast@gmail.com if you would like. The Discord's a little more direct, but I will take emails as well. If you guys are listening in podcast world, please do leave a review. It is super, super helpful for us. And yeah, let us know what you guys think, all that good stuff. YouTube as well, hit like, subscribe, all that good stuff. But guys, that is gonna be it. We will see you guys next week for the next 9.17b patch, and the week after for the 9.18 with all these awesome items. But it's been great, guys. For Boop, I am Blevins. We will see you guys next week. Bye bye.